Hey guys, how's it going? This is Davin with Davin D Doodles, and thank you so much for joining me. Today is quite overcast and cold outside. They're saying there's a possibility of snow, and looking out the window, I'm kind of convinced that maybe on the horizon. So with that said, it's definitely the kind of day that we want to take a siesta, just relax, and I figured I'd bring you guys with me because after a long week, I'm pretty sure we could all use some nice relaxing coloring, some entertaining stories, and just kind of catching up. So I'm going to go ahead and try to begin a page out of Magical Jungle from Johanna Basford. It's the first page I've done in this book, and I really just want to color some flowers. That's pretty much all there is to it. So I'm going to bring you guys along with me, but it will take me a long time to do it, probably multiple videos if you guys want to see it done all on camera. If not, I'll just upload the finished image on Instagram, but for me, even using alcohol markers takes forever, and doing something like this with pencils is going to be a long time. So make sure you tune this in for background noise only. You're going to want to have a craft of your own you're working on, and you're also going to want a beverage of choice, which on this channel, it could be tea, coffee, or at this time of year, I will even accept hot cocoa. So I'm going to go ahead and try to pick out an image, and we will get started. Okay, so the first thing I found that I was kind of interested in has a lot of leaves and a few flowers in it, so I think I can work with it. I just really like doing foliage. It's probably my favorite part of the Nice Little Town books. So I figured this is a double page spread, and it's kind of like the same image mirrored on both sides. It just goes across. It would be kind of cool to do like the rainbow colors across the pages. We'll see if I can do it. It's been a really long time since I've used my pencils. The last time was probably December. No, it was November, I think, working on a work in progress that I never finished. And I hate when I do that because I was doing really good with the pencils. Like, I was really kind of getting it and jiving with it. Which pencil is this? And then I turned around and I stopped for a little bit, and it's like I'm starting again from square one. So I can't remember how to like layer them, or if you're even technically supposed to layer the Faber Castell pencils. I don't remember, but I'm just gonna do what I'm gonna do, and you guys can make fun of me or kind of correct me in the comments with what you know, or if you use pencils, I'm open to advice. I'm just doing this to try and de-stress after a long week, and I'm sure you guys can feel the same. So let's get started and not worry about it too much and just see what happens. I need to go light pressure first though. And it's really a good thing that I'm not doing tutorials because, dear God, this would be a hot mess. But I know for me, it has been a really long week. And I would love to know how you guys are doing. Are you doing okay? I know there was a lot of, for those of us in the US, and we're not going to talk about it too terribly much, there was a lot of excitement with some political things. But like I said, we're not going to go too much into it. We're just gonna I hope you're okay, because I know a lot of people were really freaked out when it started. And if you need to take a minute to kind of breathe, that's okay. Just try not to get too worked up and too upset. You cannot control what other people do, you can only control what you do. So try to just, and I know a lot of people, it doesn't help to be told to relax and to breathe. I'm gonna zoom you in a little. I know that actually makes some people more irritated, so I apologize. I'm not trying to demean how you feel, but just remember, you can only control what you do, not what others do. And that's all I'm going to say on that. But as far as I go, it's been a really just stressful work week, and I don't really know why. Nothing of a note really happened. It was just kind of like one of those weeks, you know what I mean? Where all you wanted to do was go to bed, and then you couldn't sleep. And I have actually been having a lot of trouble sleeping again, but whatever. So that's kind of been going on my end, and I don't appreciate it much because I love to sleep. I love to rest. But I did finish up a page on Nice Little Town 6, and I love it. But I have noticed I've started falling into the same color schemes over and over. And I'm really curious if anybody else has a problem with that. I've noticed I like to color certain what am I trying to say? Like, I'll color plants the same way over and over, or I'll color like the mice the same way. Just certain items end up kind of being the same, and I really like the way it looks. So it's almost like, could this be a trademark kind of thing? Is this just my style, or is it me relying too heavily on one color scheme because I think it looks really good? So it kind of presents a little dilemma on my behalf, and I'm really curious if anybody else has trouble with that. Do you ever find yourself using the same colors over and over, kind of relying too heavily on them? And what do you do to break yourself out of that sort of thing? So what I'm basically just trying to do is put down like a really light base layer of red. And I'm starting with a darker red, and I'm going to move into a brighter red, because then I'm going to go into an orange. And I'm not sure, like, it feels so wrong to be doing just red because there's so many beautiful details. So I might try and like shade some more red and maybe put some pops of color to deepen the red or something, but I don't know that I have that skill level yet. I was actually considering doing a haul video today. I went a little nuts. Well, I need a sip of coffee, hold on. It's been a morning, hold on. I was, excuse me, actually considering doing a haul video today, but I've done one so recently, I don't want to like have my channel be nothing but haul videos. And my husband kind of brought it to my attention. He's like, you have a lot of coloring books. And I do. I mean, maybe not as much as some of you guys do. I know some of you talk about having bookshelves and stuff full of coloring books, which is really cool in my opinion. But for me, like, we're a military family, so we move every 4 to 5 years. Sometimes sooner, unfortunately. But I don't mind having regular books. It just seems a little bit excessive when you have to move so much and you have excessive coloring books maybe you haven't colored anything in yet. And he did point that out to me. He was looking, as I was arranging my art studio, my little, quote-unquote studio. It's an art room, basically. It's where I sit and color and do my drawings. And he was helping me, and he looked over it. I have like 3 little bins. Like, they're not even bins. They're like, I don't know, they're like almost like paper trays full of books. And he's like, maybe you should, not be buying books for a little bit. Maybe you should color out of what you have. And he didn't mean anything mean by it, and he wasn't trying to tell me not to do it. But he's entirely right. Like, I should be coloring out of what I have, and I know I should be. But sometimes when you're on Amazon and you see fun stuff, or you see haul videos that other people do, and they have really cute books and you really want them, it's like, oh, the enabling. So it's like, yeah, I work now, and I have a paycheck that I'm kind of dedicating for whatever I want. I get paid every week, okay? So it's like 1 out of 4 paychecks can be for art stuff. And he totally agrees with that. Like, he's not against that at all. But he did say maybe I should consider using the books I have instead of ordering a million things on Amazon. So maybe the haul videos are going to need to stop for a little bit, at least for coloring books. But that said, I do have several. 3. I have like 10 or 11 books that I ordered in January because I got really impulsive and excited about them for some reason. And so I have like a bunch of books that I'm going to share with you guys. And I almost colored out of one of them today, but I thought it might be better to do it after I kind of show you what I bought. And I also want to kind of do a video and show you some of the art supplies I'm going to buy, because I do know for a fact I'm going to get one more thing, and I have to order it, and I'm not sure how long it's going to take to actually come in, because there's a notice right now saying that their shipping is delayed due to the whole COVID thing. So I want to do it all together, and then that'll kind of be like, okay, this really needs to be enough for now, and I don't need to be buying any more books. Maybe some art supplies to play with or something, that's one thing, because I use it for more than coloring, but those are kind of like consumables, and I go through them, so I need them. But books, I honestly, I have gotten a little bit careless with my books. I do have a lot of books that I haven't even colored in yet, and that's kind of wasteful. So I definitely need to work on that before I go and buy any more. So that's my current plan with that. I will have probably one more coloring book haul video I'm going to share with you guys. And I think I'm going to do a flip through of at least one of them. It's an Instagram artist that I really, really enjoy. And he's a really chill dude. And I bought it because I just, one, wanted to support him. But two, it's a really cute book. And I've never seen someone use it before. So I think that's going to be included on my haul video when I eventually get to it. And like I said, I don't want my whole channel to be nothing but haul videos. I want you guys to kind of, relax with me, chill with me every now and then. We're going to have fun. That's the point. I think I'm going to cut off the dark red probably here. Yeah, I'm going to at least layer it in and kind of transition to a lighter red. So I don't know. I'm just talking, you guys. I am kind of like so dead after this week. I'm really pushing myself, and I'm new. I'm within like the 90-day timeline, but I always push myself to do the absolute best I can. And it's exhausting. Like, I sit in front of a computer for 8 hours a day, and all I want to do sometimes is cry. And it's not like it's hard work, and it can be rewarding work. But at the same time, it can also be, for someone like me, I consider myself at this point, I used to try and be tough and like, oh, nothing bothers me, blah, blah, blah. I can do anything. Well, that's not true. I am just going to have to admit the fact that, one, I'm scared of my own shadow now, and two, I am a freaking bleeding heart, and it kills me. Like, working in the medical profession at all can just rip at my heartstrings. And there have been a few patients that I've done stuff for this week that just, I almost was in tears. I really was. And I shouldn't be, I do what I can do, and that's all I can do, but it just, I empathize too much with people I don't even know sometimes, and it gets me. So it's been really hard, and I've been trying to keep up with like my drawings and my coloring, which I have been coloring. I've been trying to color on lunch if it's too cold, or like in the mornings before work I'll do a little bit of sketching, or I'll color like at night a little bit after to try and de-stress a little. And that's been really helpful, because I find that after work, even if I can do like an image or two, like a quick sketch or two, it's so much harder for me to draw after work when I'm just so drained and exhausted. It's so much harder for me to draw than it is to color, because color is like the drawing is done for me. It's still motor skills, it's still like a de-stressor, but it's a different type of de-stressor. So it's really nice, and I'm so glad that I've actually found this and been able to become a part of this community where it's really, really helpful to have something at the end of the day to do. Because, I don't even think I could. Some days I wasn't even able to read, because I would sit there and I would read a sentence, and I would have to read it again and again, because I couldn't. I spend all day reading like clinic notes and doing writings and stuff for my job. So it's like I just sit there and I can't comprehend. Like, my brain just wants to stop for a little bit. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's okay. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, I'm going, I really need to do this, or I need to make a video, or I need to, I promised you guys a coloring page, and I haven't really made much progress on that, so that's not okay. That is going to be done, but it's like, I have all this in the back of my head of what I need to do. Okay, yeah, I'm good. I was like, wait, did I go too far? So it's really exhausting for someone like me, because I sit there and just think of all the stuff I need to do, and I'm not doing it, and I feel really guilty, and I feel lazy if I don't do anything after work. And sometimes you just need to stop, or you're gonna burn out. So that's something really important. Even if YouTube is the only thing you do, when I wasn't working and I was just doing YouTube, it was equally as stressful, you know? It was so much. And I don't think people always understand how much time goes into a video. Even if it's a coloring video and it's just a color and chat like I'm doing right now, there's still a lot of time that goes into these. And, you know, you're taking part of your day, you're opening yourself up, and it's a lot. Now, do I want to cut it off here? I feel like this is a good place. This vine right here. So I'm going to color this one. But I have gone a little bit crazy. Even though I'm going to try not to do so much coloring book and Amazon shopping, what I really, really, really want to do is go and do like a, we're going to color this leaf. I want to go to a local art store and do like a little haul there with just supplies or like something local. I think that would just be the coolest thing to support a small business right now. And it's kind of important to me, like, you know, New Orleans is suffering. A lot of people are suffering and their businesses are failing. So if we can, why not do local? So I think I was going to originally do that this weekend. But we had like a surprise bill come up because the COVID relief is no longer effective. And we also had New Orleans slip back into what they're considering phase 1, like a modified phase 1 for COVID restrictions. And I wasn't sure if like the local art stores would even technically be open for walk-in shopping. And that's what I want to do. I want to go in, I want to touch things and see things for myself and just have a good time and like talk to people or just see what's available. I don't want to do a curbside pickup. I want to go in and have the experience of shopping local. So I think that's something I'm definitely going to end up doing. But it's just going to have to wait until this like phase 1 thing is over and COVID's a little more controlled here, things like that. I think that's a good place to switch to my next one. So this is basically also red. It's just going to be, yeah, it's just going to be a brighter red, I think. Yeah, we'll do it. Okay, I'm going to bring it down a little so you can see. So that's another idea I'm really excited to do. You can't even tell the difference. These are the exact same color, basically. But even though I'm trying not to buy as much and just maybe buy art supplies and things like that, as I need them primarily, or if I get really curious about a certain type, I did sign up for a couple of subscription boxes because apparently those are my new obsession. And I don't know, I know you guys, a lot of you guys have something similar, and it's like coloring, is it Coloring Haven or Coloring Heaven? Something along those lines. It's like a subscription magazine, which has a bunch of coloring pages in it. I actually have one copy that I managed to find at Barnes & Noble, and I'm coloring out of it now. It's actually the other work in progress with these pencils that looked really good until I stopped doing it and then nearly ruined it. And so I know you guys have things like that, but I signed up for a art supply one. I signed up for, God, what was it? It's not Art Snacks. It's not Sketchbox. Scrawlerbox. It's Scrawlerbox. I signed up for them because I was being impulsive, and it's like, I kind of like the idea of having a surprise art supply shipped to me every month. Something that I don't know anything about, something I could try to use and see if I like it. And it'll just be kind of fun. I only signed up for 3 months, but I figure it'll be fun. It'll be something to help kind of keep me rejuvenated and inspired if I ever start feeling kind of stuck in my art and things like that. So I did kind of splurge and buy that for myself. I bought 3 months, and my first box should arrive in late January. I also decided I was going to, for some reason, sign up for a succulent subscription box. I can't remember what it's called, but I will probably post a YouTube video about it because I'm really excited and I really, really like plants. I don't know, maybe I shouldn't. Maybe I should just leave this strictly for art, or maybe it'll be part of my haul video and you guys can just like skip it if you don't want to see it. But basically this place in California ships you out 2 baby succulents every month, and you can kind of see what succulent you're gonna get. And apparently it's really easy to kind of like cancel for a month if you don't want it or whatever. I'm just really excited because I'm starting to get really interested in succulents, and I haven't had plants for a really long time. The only succulent I currently have is one that I kind of like stole from my dad's house. And after he had died, I saw this little potted plant in his backyard because he spent a lot of time in his backyard. He was like, he had a workshop and he did a lot of stuff in his backyard. And I saw this clay pot. He made his own pottery. And there's this clay pot and it had like this weird looking succulent inside of it. And I knew if I left it, it was just going to get thrown away or it was going to die. And being that I liked plants, I had a garden on my stoop and all kinds of stuff like that, I wanted to take it with me. It was kind of like keeping part of him alive, which is a really weird, probably unhealthy way of looking at it. But I took it because, you know, it was a part of his estate and I was allowed to, so I did. And I like there was 2 different distinct plants in there. One was this weird, I don't even know what it is. I really need to find out. Someone said it looked like 1,000 mothers or something like that. And I don't know if that's actually what it is. But it's this really tall, lanky plant that loves the sun and isn't too terribly fond of water. It's clearly a succulent of some kind. And I've been taking care of that and it's been a pretty easy keep. But the second one, I didn't know what it was and it was pretty dead when I found it. I think that got overwatered somehow, or maybe not watered enough, because it was like the stem was brown and hard and crunchy and hollow. So that poor thing died. But one of them is still alive and going, and I'm trying to learn how to like propagate them so that I don't have to buy more plants. I can just kind of have a million of like my dad's type of plant, because it's really pretty, but growing like a freaking weed. And I'm excited to have more succulents. Like, I'm kind of getting into them now that I've kind of recovered from my little trauma after my dad died and all that stuff. It's like I'm really getting into the idea of gardening again, because after he passed, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to take care of anything outside. I had a garden last year, but it wasn't very fruitful and I wasn't as attentive to it that I should have been. So this year I decided, okay, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do it right. I ordered the succulent box that I should get my first one this week. It's actually in New Orleans somewhere. I'm just not sure where. It's sitting in the post office, probably getting crushed. But I'm really, really excited. And so we decided that today we would go and buy some containers to put it in, some proper containers to put them in. And my dad's is in a nice size, like it's a nice deep container. But the way his plant is growing, it loves the light so much that it's just kind of growing straight up and is getting really top heavy. So I also noticed there are like little roots kind of offshooting from the stems that are growing upwards. And I know these things can be grown if like you maybe trim them and like put them into the soil or on top of the soil. However, I don't know. It can be grown. So what I decided to do was, when we went to Lowe's today, we started looking at planters for the succulents I'm going to be getting, because I'm probably going to keep the subscription for at least 6 months, and that's 12 plants. And I might keep it for the full 12, who knows. But I decided that we're also going to get a larger, rounder planter for my dad's succulent. And my thought process is like, the limbs are so lanky and are growing so long, if they start to fall or kind of droop down because of their own weight, they'll kind of like have a place to rest in the soil and they'll just grow out instead of up. So that's my hope, because that thing is just like, I don't know if it goes through hibernation periods. It wasn't very happy for a while. I wasn't able to really get to my plants because of the way my room was set up, and I totally like redid my room yesterday. That's what I spent my Saturday doing, was like reorganizing my whole art room. And basically my plants are now accessible. They're getting watered as needed. They're getting the light from their grow light, because we don't get direct sun. We barely get any sunlight in the apartment right now because there's a giant walkway over our windows. So we have that kind of going on. But they get plenty of sun now and they get watered, which even succulents eventually need water. So they seem pretty happy and I'm excited for them. And I cannot wait to get the new ones. But while we were at Lowe's, the whole reason I started rambling on about this, good God, it's almost been half an hour. I'm so sorry. I'm in a talking mood today. The whole reason, like, I started this story was we went to Lowe's to get this stuff, and we did get it. But Anthony's, like, wandering around behind me, and I'm pointing out, like, the little terrarium things that I read you're not supposed to put your succulents in, so we're not going to do that. And he stops and he's like, hey, let's get this. And I look over and he's got this plant that he's looking at that looks identical to the one that died from my dad's house. I mean, it looks like the exact same plant. And it's the only one on the shelf. It's all by itself. And so, you know, Bleeding Heart Davin over here is like feeling all bad. Like, oh, it needs a friend. It needs to go home. It needs to come with us. So basically, we have another plant. And we're getting 2 succulents this week. And I don't know why I did that, but I did. And I'm so happy. That stupid plant has made me so happy. And it seems like it's an easy keeper. You just have to kind of, I don't know, I might have to take it out of the light. Because I'm having trouble with some of my aloes too. I think they're getting too much sun. Okay, yeah, we're going to make this red too. See, I just feel so bad. Like, this should be a different color. But we're doing red. We're doing the rainbow, which is weird because I normally wouldn't do that. But this is really therapeutic. If you guys have colored this page, you should let me know how you did it and like send me a link or tag me on Instagram or something, because I would love to see your finished image of it. And like, this is just the first layer. This isn't even this isn't even how it's gonna end. I hope you guys can see okay and you're not going crazy. I told you it was going to be a long one. And you know what? Actually, now that we're on that topic, let me know down in the comments. Do you guys prefer it when I finish longer coloring pages like this off camera? Do you want to go through the entire process with me? Definitely let me know, because if you guys want to see and I just end up posting it on Instagram, like, you're not going to get what you want because no one told me. So definitely let me know. Share thoughts. I don't bite. Usually. I mean, I don't know. I've been told that I can be kind of abrasive, but I try to be very nice on here. Usually if I get snappy, it's not your fault. And I like to think I'm a nice person. I don't know. Like I said, I'm a bleeding heart, so odds are I'll get my feelings hurt way before you will. And I won't tell you about it. Alright. Something else I also bought, and this is kind of bad. I bought Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch because I'm secretly like 5 years old and I'm in love with the Pocket Camp game. I'm kind of addicted to it. Thank you so much, Mindy, my friend that introduced me to it, because now I can't stop. But at least I haven't spent real money on it yet. That's the good thing. Alright. Oh god, my coffee's going cold. That's disgusting. I hate cold coffee. I actually bought, like not the Tennessee whiskey. Who is it? Jack Daniels has a, coffee that I bought Anthony for Christmas. So we've been drinking that and it's actually really good. I took a sip the first time and I hated it, and I thought that it was a huge waste of money. It's expensive, but that's why I made it like a Christmas gift. But it's really good. Like, I tried it again and it's like, yep, this is what I needed. So if you have a little bit of extra money and you want to like throw something at your beverages of choice, I highly, highly recommend trying that out just to see if you like it. We also have a local store here called PJ's, and we went a couple times to try their coffee, like their holiday special brews, and oh my god, they are so bad for you, but they're so good. Like, that stuff is addictive. I think they put crack in it. Alright. I'm gonna keep going with the red for a little bit. Maybe finish up the flower section here, because then I have to do orange and yellow. So I'm gonna finish up, yeah, here will be the last part. And we'll start shifting into the orange. But, so there was like a kind of a, I almost made a huge ass out of myself. Okay. I have stoop cats. Like, I have a garden on my porch that my stoop cat killed because I had planted strawberries and he liked to lay in my strawberry plant. But, you know, soft-hearted Davin couldn't kick him out because he was so sweet. And like, this cat has straight up bonded to us at this point. He's been here for like over a year. And when we went on vacation for 2 weeks, I figured he wouldn't even be there because, you know, stray cats will just wander off to the next food source. No, he was in the bushes waiting for us for like 2 freaking weeks to come home and feed him and cuddle him. So this is basically my cat, right? And his name is Moo because he has black and white patches like a freaking cow. Yes, I named a cat Moo. Don't judge me. I look very strange, and my husband looked very strange because he will come to his name. So when we're like seeing him in the parking lot and we yell, "Mr. Moo," he will come running and he will follow us on our nightly walks with our dog. So we look like crazy cat people, but you know what? He's a sweetheart. And why was I talking about this? I don't even know. What was I talking about? Oh, yeah, okay, so the story I almost made an ass out of myself. And I'm sorry for the cursing. I'm trying not to, but that just totally slipped out. So I am really sorry. But anyway, I was working, and I work next to my window in my living room, which overlooks the now empty and dead garden because I have to, like, tear out all the plants that have died over the winter and basically get ready to plant in the spring. But I still have like old decrepit plants in there, and Mr. Moo still lays in them, and he has a planter box all to himself because he loves to lay in the dirt because he's a weird cat. Even though I put like towels and stuff in there because it's so cold. Like, I even put like a little heating pad in there for him because it's so cold. That's how bad he is and like how spoiled he is. So I clearly love this cat. And I'm sitting there working, and I'm zoning out and probably staring out the window even though I should be working. And I see my dog. She has a bad habit of just freaking out whenever my husband's not home and barks at everything anyway. So I thought she was just carrying on to be a brat because she saw someone or saw a squirrel or something, because she will bark at literally anything or any car. And it drives me freaking crazy. So I'm thinking she's just carrying on to carry on. And I'm getting irritated. Well, I realize pretty quickly that I hear someone storming up the steps. I see a grown man diving towards the bushes. Because you have my porch that has a garden and you have a bunch of bushes right next to it. And my first thought, honest to God, was, what is this guy doing to my stoop cat? I thought he was chasing Moo. I thought he was chasing him because, like, I don't know, maybe Moo peed on something or, like, swiped at his dog or something like that. People do weird things, okay? And I was livid. Like, it takes a lot to get me to actually... People that knew me younger will say that I had a very bad temper, and I did. But nowadays, it takes a lot to get me worked up to the point where I am ready to throw a fist in your face. Like, I won't even say anything a lot of the time to cause conflict. I'll just be, you know, I'm a very passive person at this point in my life. Like, I don't care what, you can't change stupidity. So it's just better to leave it alone and just keep your thoughts to yourself and not feed into it. But when I saw this dude diving into the bushes after what I thought was my stoop cat, you better believe I got out of my chair and I flung that door open. And the words, and you can imagine the next word that was coming out of my mouth, and it started with an F and it's 4 letters long, was coming out of my mouth, okay? And this dude kind of jumps, and I see a dog in the street. And this is a big dog, and it's like a lab Doberman mix. And I could tell it's a Doberman mix because it's got the markings of like the red Doberman. I've grown up with Dobies all my life. I was out of frame, I'm sorry you guys. But I've grown up with Dobies like all my life. So I know a Doberman when I see it, okay? And this guy, will try and tell you that it's a lab, but it's a Dobie. And he's beautiful, and I just want to pet him. But I see this dog, and I realized he wasn't, this guy that was in my planter box was not chasing Moo. He was chasing his dog that slipped out of his leash. And I felt so bad. I was like, oh my God, I almost cussed this guy out. I almost started a fight because I thought he was chasing my cat and acting like a complete jerk. And I'm like, I'm so glad I didn't say that. What was I thinking? But this guy is chasing his dog that essentially thinks he's playing with him. Like, it's in the road, it's running around in the road, and this guy's like running after him, trying to catch him, and I'm thinking, this dog is gonna get run over. People fly down this road all the time. So clearly, I can't just go back inside and ignore it, so I'm like, I called the dog over, and the dog actually came over to me, and he's looking at me kind of hesitant, but like he kind of wants to come closer. And I try to reach out to pet him, and he kind of cowers away, and then the guy runs up and tries to grab him, but the dog runs off again. So this guy, I didn't think it was even his dog because of how the dog was behaving. I thought maybe it was a stray he was trying to catch. But I could see that he had like a collar on. And what I thought was the collar originally in the guy's hand was like a weird looking leash. So I'm like, okay, this guy is just trying to get his dog. His dog's acting like a little jerk, and he's gonna need help because this dog is not coming to him. It's probably a young dog, and the one thing that you don't do when your dog escapes from you is chase it, because that to the dog is play. I've been told that since I was a little girl. My mom worked with dogs a lot, and I'm like, okay, this guy he's gonna get his dog run over unintentionally. Like, this dog is just gonna run into the street and get hit. So I'm like, okay, this isn't gonna work. I go inside, I get my own dog's food bowl, and I'm like, the only way this dog is gonna come to this guy is if I lure it in with food. So I put a little bit of food, not a lot, just a little bit of her dry food into the bowl, and I walk outside, and the guy's still like in the area trying to chase this dog, and I rattle it, and the dog turns at me, and he comes like bounding up the stairs, and he's very interested in the food, so I knew that if I grabbed at him, he would just run away again. So I put the food bowl down, and I backed away, and he came up and started eating it. And I think the guy kind of realized what was going on too, because he kind of crept up the stairs, and he sat down not far from the dog, but kind of close enough that he could reach for it. While the dog was eating, he just kind of managed to get a hold of the collar, and he had the dog. And, he's like, thank you so much, I'm so sorry about that. And I'm like, it's just regular dog food, don't worry about it, it's nothing special, it won't hurt your dog, but, I'm glad I could help. And I went back inside, like I left it at that. I felt bad enough that I had about, gone out there and threw my fist in this guy's face. And when I say that, I really mean it. I was upset to the point that I was prepared to hit him, because you don't mess with my cat. You do not act like that with animals. You just don't. Animal cruelty of any kind is a surefire way for me to be like, your worst nightmare. Don't do it. So I was really glad I didn't finish my thought that I was having, And then I just kind of let it go, and like I didn't make a complete jerk out of myself. And I'm really glad I was able to help the guy get his dog too, because that could have gone really badly. You know, a lot of people here are afraid of dogs. All it would take is for a wrong person or like a kid to run up, and basically he could be bitten and the dog would be put down. So it could have gone really badly, but I'm glad it didn't, and I'm really glad I didn't make a jerk out of myself. Long story short, don't always assume someone's chasing your stoop cat. But yeah, that was probably like an interesting event from my week. And something else that was kind of weird, and it's like, it kind of shows the crappy side of people, but at the same time, it kind of shows the good part of people. My apartment complex is really, okay, so New Orleans in general has really, really high insurance rates, and that's because most people are uninsured, and when they hit you, they're gonna run. I cannot tell you how many people I have known that have been in accidents and the person is just taken off, and the cops find them later and say, yeah, they don't have insurance, so you're kind of screwed. Of course, you know, because that's what happens. But I remember that happening to several people, and it's just kind of the fact that is the way it is here, you know. It's just kind of try not to get in an accident. But in my complex especially, there have been, not so much lately, I think it's mostly kids that were breaking into cars. And when I say breaking in, I mean checking to see if your door was unlocked and then going through your stuff and taking any change. And there have been a time or two that me and Anthony were walking our dog, and we were walking through the complex, and we would see somebody with their bumper completely ripped off. Like, you could not drive this car. And it was clearly because someone had hit them in the parking lot and run. So it happens, you know, it definitely happens here. And we were coming home from walking our dog, and I noticed right in front of my apartment is a one-way street. And it goes to another area of the apartment that you can eventually loop around and then kind of leave again. But right in front of my apartment is one way, and there's a kind of a ruckus going on. Like, there's some guy, and he's out of his car, and he's like yelling at people, and there's two people trying to back up and reverse out of the one way so they can go a different direction. And I'm like, what in the hell? Oh, sorry. God, I really need to work on that. It gets worse when I'm tired. I'm so sorry, you guys. Please forgive me. I just need some sleep. I really try not to do that. But anyway, so I'm like, what is the deal? Like, what is going on? But Anthony and I just kind of ignore it. We're minding our business. We just want to go to our apartment, which is right next to this whole scene. And this dude that's outside of the car, oops, and he's in the road that's been carrying on, says, hey, ma'am. Oh, God. I can't ignore him. I'm like, you know, I kind of start turning, and I'm like, you know, what's up? And he's like, whose car is this? And he's pointing at a parked car. And I realize he has his phone out. And I'm like, oh, that's my neighbor's. And he's like, can you go call him? And I'm thinking, like, on the phone? Like, what are you talking about, call him? And this guy is carrying on, and I realize he's next to a truck, and this truck is trying to back up also. And the guy gets livid and says, no, you stay right there. You stay right there. He's like, this guy just hit this parked car, and he's trying to leave. You need to get the owner of the car. And then I realized what's going on. And I'm like, oh, crap. So my husband, thankfully, came back outside, and he went to get the neighbor, and the neighbor's, like, probably trying to sleep at this point, but my husband's, like, banging on his door repeatedly, and this guy is an older gentleman with the cane, and he's, like, standing behind the truck, recording his license plate, recording us, recording everything, and he's, like, not letting this truck leave. And I'm thinking to myself, this guy in this truck is gonna, like, run you over. You gotta get out of the road, because the truck is trying to behave kind of like, you know, asinine. And I just remember thinking to myself, when that truck turns off, and the guy gets out. I'm like, oh my God, please don't pull a weapon. Like, please don't pull a weapon. And eventually our neighbor comes out, and he's, you know, obviously kind of like disturbed because my husband is pounding on his door at this point. He's like, someone hit your car, dude. So that was a whole fiasco, and we just kind of went back inside. We're like, you can deal with it. It's your car. Do what you want to do. I'm going inside. So it was kind of like drama, drama, drama. But luckily, I mean, he didn't have his bumper ripped off or anything. It looks like he just had a nasty scratch. But the fact that the guy in the truck still tried to leave, and it's kind of like, I don't know who the old gentleman was with the cane that was like, just, you shall not pass. You are stuck here. I am going to stand here, and you have to run me over to leave. Like, he kind of refreshed my faith in humanity a little bit. He was not going to let this dude just get away with that. So that was pretty, you know, brave of him, but it's like, I'm really glad that dude didn't try and run you over, because there have been some sketchy things that have happened in New Orleans lately, let me tell you. So luckily, like, it seems like everything was kind of figured out. The neighbor, I'm assuming, is going to get his car fixed and all that stuff, but it's like one thing after another, guys, one thing after another. Oh yeah, and this was like, I was doing it again. I'm so sorry. I just kind of get in the zone and I forget to move my book. So like I said, hopefully you're doing a craft and you're not actually watching me extremely slowly color this. But that was like, yeah. That was a hot mess. And okay, I'm trying to remember or see how I have this colored here. It was definitely a wake up moment. Oh, and right after or right before that, someone set the dumpsters on fire. So it's kind of like, I don't know what you had in there, bro, but it probably shouldn't have been there if it set the dumpster on fire. So that was another interesting event. Luckily, it didn't, like, the fire department is right down the street, so they got here really quick. And they were able to take care of it. But I had originally, we were walking the dog again. All the crazy stuff happens when we walk the dog. And we could smell the fire, and we could see the smoke, and we heard the sirens of the fire truck coming. And we're going, okay, hopefully this isn't someone's apartment, because if it is, we're gonna have to try and help. Like, we're gonna have to make sure at least everybody's out of the apartment. And it was just the dumpster. Someone set it on fire. And like, I say set it on fire because it seems awful hard to, like, I don't know, I wouldn't imagine you would throw a cigarette into a dumpster and think it was a good idea, but maybe some people just didn't think about it. I don't know. So I don't know that it was intentional, but it was definitely an event that happened. Alright, so I think I have more orange colors than I have red, so I'm going to try and kind of go through. I think what I want to do is try and finish like the base layer and then maybe come back and start blending. But this is a really long video already, so I don't know. I'm feeling kind of in the zone, so we'll see. I need to sharpen this though. Okay. Yeah, okay. This is like a nice actual orangey yellow color. And then I have an even lighter orange. And then I have the yellows. So I think the oranges will be easy enough to blend together. And even like the transition from orange to red will probably be more gradual than I have it here. But you need the base layers first. So I am really enjoying this. This is so therapeutic. And usually I don't have too terribly much to say during coloring chats, but I feel like a lot happened this week somehow. So it's like, let's talk, let's do it. I will say that my job is trying to get me to work some overtime, and I'm not sure I'm gonna be able to do it. I've been so tired. And I don't know, I do consider like YouTube and my art to be like my second job, and I really love it. And if I were to do even more work during the weekdays, or if I were to try to, take some time on my Saturday to do stuff, I wouldn't have the right time to do anything with you guys. And I don't like that idea. And I think I really need this, time to do something creative and artistic to be okay. And when I say okay, I just mean in general, like, to be kind of put together and not a complete mess all the time. Because I think I was missing a lot of that when I was working last. There really wasn't any kind of balance. I worked myself to the bone. And I don't know, it's just not worth it. It's not worth the chest pains and the headaches and all that. I have enough time, like a hard enough time doing my regular shift, so I don't know that I'm going to be able to like do extra. I don't think I'm hurting financially, which I'm very blessed for, but I don't think I really need to kill myself for it. Though I will say, I signed up for the Art Box subscription for 3 months. I signed up for the Succulent Box, which is like ongoing right now. It's not a set subscription. And I am putting some serious thought into doing a subscription with something called Used Books, or it's something to that effect. And it's basically a subscription box for used books that you kind of tell them what genres you're interested in, and for like, I think it's $7, they'll send you one book a month for like, that includes shipping. Okay, so that's actually really good. And I'm really, really tempted to try it, but I don't know that I clearly need to eat lunch. I'm getting really hungry. And I'm so sorry, I keep forgetting to move my book. You guys just need to get on me about that. But I'm really tempted to try it and just see how I like it. And I love the thought of like reusing or giving an old book a new home. I'm the type of person that when I go to the bookstore, I will buy the more beat up copy of a book because I know no one else is gonna want it, and I feel bad for it because I'm a freaking bleeding heart. Okay, we have established this. I can't. Yeah, that's just the kind of person I am. I will buy like the beat up copies or the used copies, things that people don't want anymore like that. Like, I feel really bad for it. There's nothing wrong with it usually, so I give it a new home. So I'm really putting some thought into that. And part of the reason I like the idea of the Scrawler box so much is that apparently for every box you buy, or every box that someone buys, they plant trees or something, which is really cool in my opinion. Like, there's no reason we can't do more things like that. And that's even something that I bought today, the planters. I did decide to buy plastic planters for my succulents, which some people may consider, a bad decision. There's a lot of people that say terracotta is the best thing to put them in. There's a lot of people that say, I don't know. They just say things, I guess. And like, there's a lot of debate over the best type of planter. But for me, that sometimes forgets to water with my plants being inside, they're totally fine to be in a plastic planter. And it's actually probably better for them. And I decided to buy specifically a brand of planter that was made from recycled plastics pulled out of the ocean, which when I saw that, I got super excited, and so I bought 3 of those to plant my succulents. So I was really excited. So, I mean, I'm all for that sort of stuff, and I'm really considering trying the subscription box for the used books, because you can never have too many books. My only real fear with that is that, like, you can't control the type of books you get. So if I get a book and I hate it or really don't want it, like, I'm kind of stuck. But that's kind of the thrill of it. Like, I might not like all of the art supplies I get either, you know? So what do you do then? There definitely needs to be more of a red to orange transition here. I should have done more orange, but I didn't. All right, this is like, oh, the sound of the pencils. It's so ASMR, but I love it. All right, I need to sharpen this one. So what I'm really gonna try and do is do some more blending here and some darkening of the red way on the corner there. Yeah, so this is really turning more yellow, but it looks almost the exact same color right now. So I'm trying to kind of keep my shadows out of frame, but see how that goes. I've been reading A Man Called Ove. Ove? Hold on. I've been reading this book, A Man Called Ove. You can see where I got it, but it's Fredrik Backman. I've never read one of his books before, but for some reason I was really captivated. I go through phases with things I like to read. For a long time it was nothing but like sci-fi and fantasy. And then I decided that I kind of burned out on that, so I wanted to go back to fiction, and I kind of bounced between fiction and fantasy. So that sounded interesting, and I picked it up, and I didn't read it for like 2 years. But I finally decided I was going to read it, and I'm really glad I am, because it's so funny. I don't want to do like spoilers or anything, but if anybody else has read that book, definitely feel free to like message me or DM me on Instagram or something, because that book makes my heart happy. The main character is obviously like an older guy called Ove. I'm just gonna call him that because I don't know how to say it. Besides that, and he reminds me very much of my husband, who I often say is an old man. And he reminds me of a cross between him, and it's almost creepy because he also reminds me a lot of my main character Shen from the story that I've been working on for like the past year. It's like scary similar. I'm thinking, did I like pick something up from this book and like start writing and unintentionally plagiarize? But no, I didn't. You can't plagiarize a book you've never read, but oh my god, I love it so far. He is so grumpy. But he has a right to be so far. Like I said, I don't want to go too far into it because I don't know if anybody else like maybe hasn't read it or is maybe interested in reading it. Like, I want to talk about it, but I don't want to spoil things. But I will say that his neighbors, I love the pregnant woman, Pravana, I think. I don't know how to say it. She is Iranian, which at first when I read that, I was like, oh, he's gonna have a problem with her being like a foreign person. But he doesn't really seem to mind her. He likes her a lot more than he likes her husband, who's like this white, lanky IT consultant or something. And they seem very like kindred spirits almost, because they're both kind of grumpy, and it's really funny. And I just love the fact that she is so like matter of fact and is not put off by him at all. She will call him out on his crap, and I love it to death. I love characters like that. And I think I mentioned this in one of my last videos, that she reminds me a lot of a character that I was going to develop that is much younger than Shen. She's actually like going, like, he has a son basically, and he basically wants his son to marry this girl because he adores her so much, though he won't ever freaking admit it. So like, she's much younger than him, but she will also call him out on his crap in like a heartbeat, and he really respects that about her. So it's kind of like the same thing with this dude and his neighbor. It's like, oh, it's the same story, but I love it. I love it. And I will say, like, I think I also mentioned in my last video that the author has a really bad habit of using the same term over and over and over, and it drives me a little crazy. But I will put up with all kinds of crap if your characters are interesting and you have a good story. Like, I used Cormac McCarthy as my example in the last video, and I stick to that because that man's writing drives me freaking bananas. But he has really good characters, so I put up with it. And it's kind of the same situation here. If this guy, Fredrik Backman, uses the words as if one more time in like to describe something or compare something or whatever, I'm going to scream. Like, there's just no doubt about it. I will scream. But his characters are so interesting and I want to know so much more about them that I'll put up with that crap. So it's like you know, little things that people can get away with when they're done right. I mean, people might agree with me, some people might disagree, but... And I kind of wish, I know Anne from A Colorful Life is doing read-alongs and stuff like that, and I really wish that I liked her genres. I think she does a lot of like the romance, I think she calls them rom-coms, which is probably the general term, but I don't like them. So I can't join her in that, though. I think it's awesome she's doing something like that, because reading is super important, and I wish I had more time for it, and I wish more people had time for it. But it's hard to do, and I understand a lot of people struggle to like have the appropriate time to dedicate to something like that. So do I want to... I think I'm going to bring it over a little more. But that's a lot. Trying to decide. This is why I kind of decided to do the base layers first and all the colors, so I could kind of decide where the colors start and where they should end before I got too detailed and like really messed up. Alright, we'll just bring this down a little. I'm not gonna fade in like different shades of yellow. I have two. There's the really dark one and then there's the much lighter one. I'm just gonna do the brighter one because I don't want to muddy it up, and this is a pretty light orange, so I feel like going to like a really dark yellow wouldn't make sense, if that makes sense. So we're just gonna do this. I really like how this is coming out so far, and I hope you guys do too. We're getting really close to being done. And then I'll turn it off, and you guys can let me know if you want to see more, or if you just want to see the finished image on Instagram. Which, you know, shameless plug, follow me on Instagram because that's where I post a whole bunch of crap. Oh my god, I'm so hungry. What time is it? Oh, it's 12:30, that's why. Alright, so we're just gonna do... Yeah, see, that's a nice color. I'm glad I went this way and not the really dark yellow. Also, that's my dog in the background, so I'm sorry. She's like wanting to get out of the room, I think. She had a nap and now she's ready to venture, but she's locked in here forever. Which I think this is a rather nice place to be locked inside. I would also be really interested in seeing what kind of coloring spaces you guys have. I know a lot of people probably don't have as much space as I do. I'm very lucky in the fact that like we have a 2-bedroom apartment and it's just me and my husband, so like there's no kids or anything. So I'm able to dedicate a lot of space to like my art and my coloring. So like, what do you guys have? Do you just have like a little nook somewhere that you go at the end of the day? Do you just kind of take your coloring with you to like the couch? Do you have your own little art room? Like, I'm really curious. What do you guys have? I would love to know. I would also be really interested to know what your most used art supply is, and what your most desired art supply is. That's always been something I would love to know. Whenever I watch haul videos, and I have been seeing a lot of haul videos lately, so I've been like more curious than not. Like, people sometimes just buy them because they're good deals. But if you had the opportunity, no budget restrictions or anything, what would be your ideal like art supply collection? What would be, like, if you use markers, would you go all out and get Copics? Do you prefer your budget markers? If you use pencils, what kind of pencils? I'm doing it again, you guys. What kind of pencils would you prefer? I would love to know. All right, so we're getting to the end here. I like it. And I'm gonna do the same thing I'm gonna do with the red here. Maybe I'll zoom you out so you can see. That's in. So, full page. So I'm gonna do the same thing here and kind of blend back. So I'm gonna have some orange blends going this way, orange blends going this way, and then dark, dark red over this way. Probably not too terribly dark though, because it's supposed to be rainbow colored, so I don't wanna have like super dark. And as for a background, I don't know yet. We'll have to decide that later if we even want a background. So right now, this is where we are. Oh, you guys, should I even, oh, here's a thought. Zoom out even more. No, out. Here's a thought. The next video, do I continue onto the next page and then go into the detail on the blending? You guys need to let me know what you want to see, because I'm definitely going to keep doing this. It was super relaxing and really fun. So here's your options. 1, do I continue to work on this on my own and just post the finished thing to Instagram? Or do you want to see the actual videos, the whole process, the whole 9 yards? 2, do you want to see in the next video, assuming you want more videos on this, do you want to see me continue across the board and then go back and add the details? Let me know in the comments below, because I'm going to keep doing this and it's going to take a hot minute. It'll be a while, but I'm sure you have crafts of your own that you need to do. So let me know what you want to see, because I'm having a lot of fun and I want to keep working on this. All right, that said, the rest of my Sunday is probably going to be spent probably doing an illustration or two and then reading A Man Called Ove by my man Fredrik Backman. I highly recommend the book so far if you're interested in something more of a comedy, a little bit more on the fiction side, and it's just a nice, light, but kind of fun read. If you like the idea of grumpy characters kind of coming around and unveiling the layers and onions, as they would say, highly recommend it. So that is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my Sunday. I hope that you have a good weekend. I hope that you have a great week. And don't forget to let me know what you want to see more of as far as the picture goes. Am I just finishing it and throwing it on Instagram? Or do you want to see the whole entire process and continue on the second page before I go back to fix the first? Let me know, and I will see you guys next week. Thank you so much for your time. I wouldn't be here without you. And I will see you next week.